Hello everyone, I welcome you all to day 5 of our mobile development 21 days challenge. And here is the task for day 5. It says, can you do delete? So, we want to implement an on-click event for items in a list view to make them interactive and also provide an option to the user to delete them. Okay, so let's see the reference link for that task. Okay, so here is our list, and once you click on them, you can cancel or delete them. Okay, so this is very self-explanatory. Uh, let's work on this. So if we look at this, this was the last list view we created in our challenge number 3, and what we would just want to do is just implement a delete function in this list view, that once I click it, we see a pop-up and we can click on delete and delete the pop-up. Okay, so for now the container is inside this parent widget of list view only, but since this one is common for all the values in the list view, we can just make it a separate widget and pass the index into it so that it becomes more readable. So let's extract this widget. We can extract it using this, and let's call it user. Sorry, you cannot see this, right? Let's extract it and call it user container. Okay, so now it's user container. It's user container. One more thing we need to pass to it is the index. The index is basically here, so we need to pass it index inside this user container. So let's name another tail final int index, and just we'll provide index here. It will be index, and now everything would work fine. Okay, so now we can see the index. Now we want to make sure that when we click it, a pop-up appears. So for doing that, we'll make this widget. We'll wrap this widget with a widget called inkwell. I already had discussed about it. Whenever we want to make something clickable, we wrap it with inkwell. So let's wrap it with the inkwell. Now when we wrap it with inkwell, we get this function here, on tap. By clicking on tap, we'll be able to perform any action we want to. So if you remember, in our day 2 editorial, we used a function called show date picker to display a date picker pop-up. Similarly, we can use another function called show dialog. This function lets us uh, display a pop-up inside an app. So when we create a dialog, first it will take a context, and then it will take a builder. So builder will also take a context, but we don't need this context, so we'll just wrap it like this, or let's give it only. Let's see what happens. So now we have our pop-up ready. Whenever we click this, we'll see this pop-up. But for now, we need to return something inside this about dialog. So whenever we create a widget in real time, when our user interacts it and we create a widget, we wrap it in a builder function, and a builder function is required. So here we also have to do the same. We have to return something, and we can return by default any widget. We can return anything, but usually for pop-up, this industry standard is we return alert dialog. This is the type of pop-up, and it handles all the designing and everything of pop-up itself. So if you see this now, and if I just save this and run this, if I click here, right now I'm not seeing anything, but this screen dictates that there is something above it which is getting displayed. So let's give this some content to display. For now, let's this content is of type widget, so it can have any widget. So let's give it a container, and when we give it a container, let's give the container a height of 100 and a width of 120. Let's give this a child as column, and children will say we'll say text hello. Let's see if this is working or not. You see our pop-up is working very much fine. So first call this function. Inside this function we created an alert dialog, and this is how an alert dialog looks. Okay, so now we don't want to display a text here hello. As we saw in the reference video, we need to display the name of the person we are clicking. So we are clicking, we need to display here something like okay, something very simple, delete, and we need to get this name. So we'll get this name like this, list. Let's use a string interpolation here, just like we discussed about in the day 3 task. If we wrap something like this, it will become, you can type any variables here also, doesn't need to be a constant. It will just say list index. Okay, it's not list, it's user list, I guess. User list index dot name, and we'll display a question mark outside of it. So when we do this, it will look like this only. You see, it asks us delete Jane Smith or not. So yeah, that's what we wanted to happen. Let's give it a color and some styling. Give it a style. It will take a style of text style. Text style will take a color. Color, I think black is fine. Let's give it a font size. Font size, and font size we can give it 15. Let's say 16. Font size of 16, and font weight of 500. So now, yeah, it looks very much clearer now. Okay, one more thing. When we delete this, the list count of array will change. So we don't want this item count to be default of values. That will give it an index out of bound error. So we'll just name this size as the size of this list. So we'll just say user list dot length. Okay. So when we delete it, we won't encounter any out of bound errors. Now I think this is final. We want a button here that says cancel and delete. So for displaying that, let's give this text a bit of padding. You can give, let's say, give it 20 padding. That it looks good. Yeah, it looks here. Now just below it, we can show our 2 buttons. So 2 buttons will definitely be like sidewise. So we have to put them in a row. Let's decide children. And now the kind of button I'm going to use here, it's a text button, because we want to not display this big buttons, but just a simple text which can be clickable. You can achieve this in a number of ways, but we'll just use text button here. You see, text button. Now text button's child will be text widget. We'll just say the name of button, and let's say cancel. Cancel, and also it needs an on tap property here, on pressed. We'll just give it an empty function for now, because we just want to see how it is looking. Yeah, it's looking fine. Okay, it's looking fine. Let's give it a size also, the same as this. Okay, yeah, it's looking good now. So let's create another button here, and now we'll have 2 buttons. cancel. Now it will not say cancel, it will say delete. Now by default these are all left aligned, so we'll have to make them center aligned. So let's make them. It works the same way as it worked in the column. Just thus main cross axis and main axis directions change. It will not say end, it will say center. Yeah, it looks fine, right? So one cancel, we just want to remove this pop-up. So we'll just say by default this pop-up is pushed onto the navigator stack. So we'll just say navigator.pop context, and this pop-up will cancel itself out. Okay, this was pretty straightforward. And while deleting this, what we will do is we'll simply remove the index which is selected and delete it from the list. So we'll just say list. We'll have to put it inside a set state because it will not update then. Inside this, just say user list dot remove at. It lets us remove at an index, remove the object at a position from this list, and we'll just type list. But we also want to go back when we have deleted this, because like, let me show you. After I delete Alex Johnson, I don't this pop-up doesn't closes, but we want this pop-up to close. So we just pop this pop-up out of the navigator stack. Okay, so now when you delete Jane Smith, it deletes Alex Johnson, deletes Emily Davis, deletes. What if I delete Sophia Miller? Delete. Okay, so that's what we wanted to implement today. And of course this will come back when you refresh, because we are freshly constructing all the data in here only. So yeah, this was our day 5 editorial. Hope you liked it. Thank you.